What's up, guys? This video will be how to crochet your dress for maintenance. First things that I wanted to say before we get into it are, sorry for how this is sitting. It might be kind of dark because I have to lean over. I don't want to be too far away. I don't know. I just don't feel like setting up a stand for my camera. But also, do not crochet your dreads very often. Especially when they start to get locked really tight, and I know that at any point once they start to lock, you're like, oh, my dreads are locked really tight, but they get tighter and tighter and tighter all the way up to 4 or 5 years. They get tighter. I have a friend, her name is Evan. She said her dreads, you can't even, she never does anything to her dreads, so they're not over tightened, and she can't even get a safety pin through some of her dreads, through most of them. So your dreads do get tighter and tighter. So anyway, the dread that I'm going to be working on is a piece of one, and hopefully you can see this. It's super, fuzzy. If you can see. All the loose hair sticking out. It's like a crap ton. But anyway, do not do this too often. Before we get into it, one more thing. Do not do it too often, and do not do it when your dreads are too early, man. Just give them a little bit of time. Because you don't want to be, and also when they're tight, you don't want to be jabbing the hook through super tight knots. There's no way you're going to be able to avoid popping and breaking hairs. And to say this too, good thing I just thought of this, if you can deal with not crocheting your hair, don't crochet your dreads. If you don't need to. I mean, you don't need to do really anything to be technical, but I understand some people like the cleaner look. So for those people, I like the cleaner look, although I don't crochet my hair hardly ever anymore unless I have a few little the baby hair along the hairline if I want to pull that in. But I don't even really use a crochet hook for that. I use these super small latch hook or loose hair tool. Dreadhead HQ makes it. DrLocks.com makes it. It's literally like a millimeter size, like this, but a little latch, and that way you know you're not breaking hairs because you're not catching anything. It's almost like a hook, crochet hook, with a little thing on the bottom. But anyway, if you don't have to do that, if you can just get away with just palm rolling, that works too. I find out that the best maintenance, if you want your maintenance to stay, is the day after you wash, because your hair is clean and dry. And probably at its best point then, before your hair starts getting greasy, depending on what your scalp producing grease schedule or oil schedule is. But into this. Okay, so loose hair on the body. What I'm going to do is I do it with my right hand. I always keep my thumb on the side of the hook that has the hook, on the side of the tool that has the hook coming down. So my thumb's on this side, so it goes out and then down. So the hook is coming towards me. I usually pull this because hair is going to come out of your dread going towards the tip usually, so I always kind of angle it. So if I'm pulling it not out of the dread, then pulling it down at an angle or straight in, kind of back up. That way it locks better. So what you're not going to do is don't pull all the loose hair from around. Like, say we're working on this 1 square inch. Do not grab all of it from that inch and pull it around to one side and pull that in. Just kind of let the hair be sticking out and grab the hair that's on that one side and pull it in. If you grab it from all the sides, first off, it's going to look ridiculous. It's going to look like you work on your hair all the time. It's not going to look organic at all. And they're not going to stay because there's going to be constant tension until it finds its way out of that knot. So you want to just grab right here and then stick the crochet hook through. Remember, don't just do this. It's the stupidest thing you could do. What I do is I push it at an angle, so this being the bottom of the tip of your hair, this being your scalp up at the top. I mean, I wish I could just where you could see it. And I just pull those hairs up against, push it up against my thumb, the hook up against my thumb, not too hard, don't stab holes in your fingers. And then I grab that hair, and once I feel it hit the dread, as I'm pulling it through, I curve it. You've probably seen this in other videos if you're researching how to crochet dreads. But, so those hairs are pushed up against my thumb. You're not going to be able to see. But up against, I grab probably however many hairs. And once it hits the dread, you'll feel it stop, kind of. Don't just pull it straight through. Pull it, once you feel it hit the dread, curve it out. That way the hook isn't just going through all those hairs and just grabbing more hairs and just weakening the hair, if not breaking it. That way it's kind of avoiding and going around hair in the dread. That is pretty much how I do it. And then the best thing you can possibly do if you want your maintenance to stay is just grab the hair that's coming out of that spot, pull it in like 2 times. I pull it not all the way through the dread to the other side, but it's okay if you do. I pull it probably right all the way through without it coming out, if that makes sense. So I pull it, for the sake of you seeing, I don't pull it all the way out here like that. I just pull it through until the hook's about to come out, like right about there, and then just go through again. Okay, so you're going to want to, as you're doing this, probably go in and out maybe like no more than 5 times, and then move it and pull them in from a different way. The other hairs are sticking out. The benefit of that is you don't want all the hairs going in one thing. If you can imagine all the hair, okay, your dread, so it's all tangled and crazy on the inside. Sorry for my weird hand gestures. But then all these hairs are going to be coming into that dread, and if there's like 6 of them, then that's however much space, making a tunnel little thing through your dread, and they're going to be right next to each other. It's going to be harder to tie that. It's like if you have like 5 ropes and try and tie all those in a knot, because of how big that knot is with all those ropes, it's easy for it to loosen up. Whereas if you have 1 rope and you tie it and not pull it tight, it stays. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm just trying to emphasize something that's really hard to explain. But pull in just a few hairs so they find their own little route, and then don't do it again. Then pull them in from a different spot. 1, 2, 3, whatever. You don't have to be legalistic about it or anal about it. And then move. And as you release, as you are not on your last one, definitely pull it, curve it away. Like as in the hook is pointing upwards right now, so away, so you're not grabbing hairs on the way out. I'm not going to sit here and crochet this whole dread. No, I know you don't feel like watching me in silence for an awkward 2 minutes, but I mean, even for me just messing with it while I'm doing this, it looks way better. So once again, let me see how long this video is. Okay, we're at like 7 minutes, so man, I hope I'm not forgetting anything, because this can, dude, if you guys cannot crochet, just don't do it. It does help if you do it right, but you're going to notice, first off, you always lose a little progression when you wash, but washing is well worth the little progression you lose. Oh yeah, tip, if you can, after you do your maintenance session, get that dread or whatever. I want to say dip it in a bottle, but that's not really necessary. Just get it wet. Get your hands wet and palm roll it, and it's going to get that hair, because it's going to be your hair that's sticking out. Those flyaways are straight, and most of the time they're straight. Or if you have curly hair, it's kind of curly sticking out. But once it's in there, it's going to be kind of resistant because it's not used to being that way. And you've heard me say the analogy before, like when your hair is straight, you get your hair wet, braid it, and then once it's dry, it's relaxed in that braid, so it's not going to be all crazy, and you can even take the hair out and it's still wavy because of what you did to it when it was wet. So once you do your maintenance, palm roll it. If you don't feel like getting your whole head wet and let it sit there dry, then just palm roll, do your maintenance. Sorry for being all confusing. Do your maintenance, get your hands wet with water, and just kind of palm roll it until you feel them get kind of moist. They don't have to be super saturated, and that's going to help the hair to relax in its new little kinks and crannies it found itself that you pulled it into. Okay, so hopefully that helps you guys crochet as little as possible. Most people say maybe once a month, pull it in. You know you're doing it too often if you if your maintenance sessions of crocheting are not shortening themselves. So you say the first time you spend like, I don't know, I used to spend like an hour maybe to do my entire head. Now if I need to, I can literally spend like probably 10 minutes doing my whole head, my entire head, because I just pull in those ones. But I mean, as your hair locks and gets tighter and the longer you have them, you're going to care less about the small little flyaways because your dreads are going to look sick. So, but anyway, palm roll if you can, if you have to do this, if you really want your hair to look whatever. Oh, and I saw some guys say that if you do crochet your hair, you're not going to have like the cool bumps and loops, but that's not true. Like I had bumps and loops and I crocheted in the beginning, but my hair is, most of them for the most part are straight, but like in some of them I have, when they start to get compressed and get really tight, I have little bumps and loops in some of mine. But anyway, hope that helps you guys. If you have questions or anything, let me know, post them on this video, and I will answer them, and if it's necessary, I'll remake the video with all the new stuff in it. So hope you guys got help from that, and you guys have a good day.